here on TVRI
Hello, good morning
World.
and welcome to
As the
our
upcoming
special
general
report for
election
state
is
leadership
gearing up
candidate
with the final
registration
candidate
right here on
registration with the
TVRI
third
World.
presidential
As the
and
upcoming
vice
general
presidential
election
nominee,
is gearing
we are
up
here
with
to
the
give you all
final
the
candidate
details and
registration
further
with the
analysis
third
of the
presidential and
contest
vice
and
presidential
political
nominee.
constellations
We are here to give
within
you
the
all the
upcoming general
details
election.
and
As your
further
host, I'm Siska
analysis
Becker.
of the
I'm
contest
Luisa
and
Casander. Thank you
political
so much for
constellation
joining us,
within
and
the
we'll be
upcoming
with you
general
for the
election.
next,
As
let's
your
say,
host,
2
I'm
hours,
Siska
2
Becker.
hours and a half.
I'm
Let's see
Luisa
how the day
Casander.
goes.
Thank you so much
Let's
for
welcome our
joining
guests right
us, and
here.
we'll be with
We
you for
have
the next,
let's say, 2
Harjojati,
hours,
a
2 hours and a
researcher
half.
and
Let's
Center
see
for
how the day
Politics
goes.
Brain.
But
Let's
thank you
welcome
so
our
much
guest
for
right
joining us
here.
again.
We have
Thank you for the
Wasistora
invitation.
Harjojati, a
Our
researcher
sister has
and
been with
Center
us
for
the
Politics
first and the
Brain.
second
Thank you
presidential
so
and
much
vice
for joining us
presidential
again.
candidates
Thank you for the
registration.
invitation.
And also we have Dr.
Our
Cecep
sister has been
Hidayat,
with us for the first and the
observer
second
of
presidential and
the
vice
social
presidential
and
candidates
political studies
registration.
from the
And
UI,
also we have
University
Dr.
of
Cecep
Indonesia.
Hidayat,
Thank you so much.
observer
Good morning,
of,
Lisa. Good
of
morning,
the social and
Sisa.
political studies from the
morning,
UI,
gentlemen.
University
Such a pleasure
of
to
Indonesia.
have
Thank
you
you so
here
much.
to
Thank
get
you. Good
your
morning, Lisa.
insights
Good
and
morning,
maybe your opinions
Sisa.
on the
Good morning,
political
gentlemen. Such a
constellation.
pleasure
Now
to
that
have
all
you
the
here
nominees
to
have
get your
announced
insights and
their
maybe your opinions
registration
on the political
We're gonna talk with
constellation.
you in a
Now
moment,
that
but
all
first
the
we have
nominees have
items
announced
to deliver.
their
That's right. Let's begin
registration
with our
within
first
the
news.
So we're going to
The
talk
week-long
with you in a moment,
registration
but
of
first we
pairs
have
of state few items to
leadership
deliver.
candidates
That's
for
right.
next year's
Let's begin with our
presidential
first
election
news.
has begun with
The
two of
week-long
the three
registration of
contested
pairs of state
registered with the
leadership
General
candidates
Election
for next
Commission,
year's
or
presidential
KPU,
election
on
has
Thursday.
begun with
This
two
is,
of the
of
three
course,
contesting
previous
pairs
news. We just
registered
wanna
with the
recap it all
General
again for
Election
you.
Commission,
And the race for
or
the country's
KPU,
top
on
leadership
Thursday.
this time
This is, of course,
anticipated
previous
to be
news.
tight,
We're just
with
going to
no
recap it all
single
again for
pair
you.
assured
And the
to
race for the country's
victory.
top leadership this time is anticipated to be tight, with no single pair
The
assured
race for the
easy
next
victory.
duet of state leadership has begun, with former Jakarta Governor Anies Baswedan. The race for the next duet of state leadership has begun, with former Jakarta Governor Anies Baswedan and National Awakening Party, or PKB chairman Mohaimin Iskandar, officially registered as pair of presidential and vice presidential candidates at the General Elections Commission, or KPU, on Thursday morning. By three legislative political parties. Nominated by three legislative political parties. Party, or PKS. Anies and Mohaimin Party, PKB, and the Prosperous Justice Party, or PKS. Anies and Mohaimin was the first pair to register their bid. About an hour later, former Central Java Governor Ganjar Pranowo and Coordinating Minister for Political. About an hour later, former Central Java Governor Ganjar Pranowo and Coordinating Minister for Political, Legal and Security Affairs Mahfud MD registered their candidacy for next year's presidential election with the Elections Commission, a day after a coalition of political parties backing Ganjar's bid announced their pick of Mahfud MD as his running mate. The Ganjar-Mahfud pair is nominated by two legislative political parties, the Indonesian Democratic Party of Struggle. The Ganjar-Mahfud pair is nominated by two legislative political parties, the Indonesian Democratic Party of Struggle, or PDIP, and the United Development Party, or PPP, and two non-legislative parties, Hanura and Perindo. The third presumptive candidate, Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto of the Gerindra Party, is not yet able to register with the Elections Commission, as he has yet to have a running mate in his pocket. Prabowo has 4 more days to announce his vice presidential candidate before the registration window for the pairs of state leadership candidates close next Wednesday. Airlangga Hartarto, chairman of Golkar Party, a member of the Indonesian Onward Coalition of political parties, which supports Prabowo's bid, said Prabowo will register with the KPU after Golkar holds its national leadership meeting tomorrow. Golkar has been proposing Airlangga as Prabowo's running mate. Besides Airlangga, a non-structural Golkar member and Minister of State-Owned Enterprises, Erick Thohir, has also been tipped as a strong candidate to accompany Prabowo in the next year's election. Erick Thohir, who had been nominated by the National Mandate Party, or PAN, has been in the top of ranking of vice presidential candidates in a number of surveys. Also largely tipped to accompany Prabowo is Governor of East Java, Hovifa Indar Parawansa, who has strong influence on members of the largest Muslim organization in the country, the Nahdlatul Ulama, or NU, particularly in her capacity as chairperson of NU's women's wing, the Muslimat NU. However, the retired army general is thought to be eyeing up President Joko Widodo's eldest son, Gibran Rakabuming Raka, especially after a controversial constitutional court ruling on Monday that paved the way for Gibran to run, and despite Gibran being a card-carrying member of the PDIP. Gibran has emerged as a unity candidate for the Electoral Alliance, backing Prabowo's third bid for the presidency, following a stalemate in naming a vice presidential pick. Gibran's status as the son of Joko Widodo, a president with the highest approval rating in Indonesia and very likely in the world, is expected to give a boost on Prabowo's presidential bid. A September 2023 survey by Compass Research and Development Agency shows that the approval rating of the Joko Widodo Maruf Amin government reached 74.3%. Other surveys by the Indonesian Survey Institute, or LSI, and SMRC even put the approval rating of Jokowi's government at above 80%. Gibran has also been tipped as a strong contender for the vice presidency. The Indonesian Survey Circle, LSI, Denny JA Research Institute released a survey in August on popularity of figures, which put Gibran at the top of potential vice presidential candidate for the 2024 election, with 66.5%, above Erick Thohir at second with 61.8%. Prior to the Constitutional Court ruling, Jokowi's grassroots support group, Projo, officially lent its support to Prabowo's bid. And before that, the president's youngest son, Kaisang Pangarep, took over the Indonesian Solidarity Party, or PSI, known to be at odds with the PDIP, but which was also being courted by Gerindra. PSI has indicated that its support for Prabowo would depend on who Prabowo's running mate will be. Therefore, it is anticipated that the announcement of Prabowo's running mate will be decided after the return of President Joko Widodo from his overseas trips to China and Saudi Arabia on Sunday. It is anticipated to be a tight one for the three pairs of state leadership candidates with relatively balanced popularity. The ability to secure the most votes in the country's three largest provinces in terms of population, West, Central and East Java, is therefore the determinant in a pair's election victory next February.
Is Defense Minister and Presidential Candidate Prabowo
What's been trending and perhaps a big surprise in the
Gerindra
news
Party
this
named
whole week
Surakarta
is
Mayor
Defense
Gibran
Minister and
Raka
Presidential
Buming
Candidate
Raka
Prabowo
as his running
Subianto
mate
of
for
Gerindra
next
Patri.
year's
Gerindra
presidential
Party
election.
named
The
Surakarta
pair
Mayor
plan to
Gibran
register
Raka
as
Buming
presidential
Raka
and
as his running
vice
mate for
presidential
next year's presidential election. The pair plan to register as presidential and vice presidential candidates.
Prabowo said the decision for Gibran Rakabuming Raka as the vice president candidate had been agreed upon by all party chairs, members of his political coalition. He added all chairs of political parties at the coalition held a meeting at his residence in South Jakarta on Sunday evening. The coalition, which is known as Advanced Indonesia, groups Gerindra Party, Golkar Party, the National Awakening Party, the Crescent Star Party, Gelora Party, Garuda Party, Prima, and the Democrat Party. Two other presidential and vice presidential pairs, Anies Baswedan and Muhaimin Iskandar, and Ganjar Pranowo and Mahfud MD, registered at the General Election Commission last week. Prabowo and Gibran are scheduled to register on October 25th, 2023.
Our guests who have joined us here in the studio. Once again, thank you to Pak Wasisto going to start our discussion with our guests who have joined us here in the studio. Once again, thank you to Pak Wasisto and Dr. Cecep for being here. Now that the race has clearly begun with all nominees announcing their registration, we can say the political alliances are set. What are your opinions now that the general election is truly underway? What can we expect?
The definitive candidates. I think in general, as we have the definitive candidates, I think the voter already settle up their decision.
Actually see that the declaration from happening at the Indonesia arena, presidential nominee and vice presidential nominee Prabowo and Gibran,
we have
actually now happening at the Indonesia arena.
As well as vice presidential
Tell us what's happening here, Pak Wasis. Perhaps we have gone through the first and the second presidential as well as vice presidential candidate, and we've seen their supporters, but they are really making a big party right now. What do you have to say about this celebration, pre-celebration?
Well, in general, I think the nomination of presidential candidate in Indonesia always to be a big party. Many loyalists to join because they attract many followers, many loyalists to join. But the thing is, many followers doesn't mean that they many can vote for them because mostly is that undistributed voters. Many Indonesian voters mostly is undistributed voters. So we can sure that they will. This could be a reminder for us that keep their promise to choose this candidate. So I think this could be a reminder for us that we should aware of that. Many Indonesian voters still unprecedented voters.
So what you're saying, this huge turnout doesn't mean anything.
We cannot
guarantee of the popularity when it comes to voting.
Yes,
in the voting booth.
we cannot ensure that they will they vote goes to the candidate.
A big start of the show,
But of course, I mean, like just looking at the screen, we can see that this is definitely a big start of the show, compared to the other two candidates. Dr. Cecep, what do you have to say about this? Is this some sort of strategy that they're doing to gain more popularity and perhaps more exposure from the public?
From my point of view, okay, thank you. I think for today's celebration, just to comment from my point of view, there are several points from these three pairs, Prabowo and just to comment in this election. The first one is, of course, from these three pairs, Prabowo and Gibran are the biggest coalition party from the support to 2019 election, and also the outsider parliament from the I think 2019 election.
Okay.
That's the first one. What the second, I think there is a problem from this candidate. What we call let's say from the there are several ethics problem from this candidate. 16. Let's say from the ethics judicial vote last week, I think. Then October 16. And the other coalition, ethics from the constitutional vote. And then Prabowo Gibran to be and the other coalition, his coalition still running mate, with him. Accept Gibran to be his vice president. His running mate, with him. PDIP as the Gibran party still have no comment until now. The other side, PDIP as the Gibran party still have no comment until now. The others, I think they will give the decision next few days. 1999, the others, I think when in 1999 when Indonesia choose a democracy as and then we already way for this country to manage this country. And then we will launch a sixth election for next year. If a country want to be refer to some political scientist scholar, at least if a country want to be consolidated democracy, we need 8 to 9 democratic election. 2040. So in 2039, 2040 democratic country in Asia. 44. But this year, few months before the election, democratic country in Asia. But this year, few months before the election, the politicians show to us, yeah, how this election can give Indonesia setback.
We are in the way to
be
do democratic Indonesia, and we can.
So we are in the way to do democratization Indonesia, and we can move back to the other side.
In the previous
like the several democratic advocates in the previous they support Jokowi. Today they set back from Jokowi.
A lot of political drama happening in this past few weeks. We would love actually to dissect your opinion about the Constitutional Court's ruling, which has been the talk of the country. But maybe before that, we go back to the event today, the registration and the declaration by Prabowo and Gibran, the final nominees to formally announce their candidacy. Why do you think they chose the very last day of registration? It is for momentum. It is to make sure that people notice them the best. What do you think of the strategy, Dr. Cecep?
Okay, because from the 9 parties in the parliament, Prabowo got support from the biggest one. From most the majority party from the parliament. And if you have more party, so you need, it is quite difficult to have the conclusion, to have consensus. So
it's even trickier.
Because every party will give the name for vice president, running mate for Prabowo. Finally, they choose the other side, the other from this party. Finally, they find Gibran, to complement with Prabowo.
So you're saying that he's actually having difficulty to really.
That's the first explanation. The second, I think Prabowo also think about his winning for the next election.
So hoping this is
he already 3 times fighting for the election and also lose.
So hoping this is their time to charm.
We know he needs backup from Jokowi and also volunteer, Jokowi volunteers. And we know until now Jokowi is still the most popular president, not only in Indonesia but in Asia, more than 30%.
And his
So I think Prabowo needs Jokowi blessing. Second,
and his popularity.
Yes, of course. And his voluntary.
They're everywhere.
Relawan Jokowi. You can name it Projo, Bara, Mawit, and
They're everywhere around Indonesia. So logistically speaking, it is also the most strategic decision to actually collaborate.
There is no rules in this.
We cannot say there is no Jokowi rules in this election.
Things
Jokowi still do cawe-cawe because with different with all the things he got as a president.
How it works.
Mahkamah Konstitusi, Constitutional Court, how to ask last year.
And I would love to get your opinion, maybe from Pak Wasis first. I think it is one of the most contested issues, for sure. And I would love to get your opinion, maybe from Pak Wasis first. When we talk about the controversial ruling of the Constitutional Court regarding the age limit of a presidential candidate, maybe first I would start by asking you, do you think age matters when it comes to
the emergence of young
vice
leader
president or maybe even president nominees?
I think it's
What do you
not
think?
a new phenomenon. Well, I think the emergence of young leader in the world, I think it's not a new phenomenon. Many countries have many young leaders, for example, in New Zealand, in Sweden, and even in Chile. But I think regarding the age, they came up from the bottom. I think they run through the advocatism. So they run for the. If we follow this line, of course, networking from the below doesn't matter. So, but in Indonesia, if we follow this line, of course, the privilege doesn't matter. Source always matters. In Indonesia, even if they are, we already know that the privilege source always matters. Even if they are from the young people, mostly came from the political class that now currently sit in House of Representatives. mostly came from the political clan or political families. So if we back to the question again, I think it
Would you say that
dep-
although
it
Gibran
depends
Raka
on
Buming
the
Raka has
privilege
not been
source.
very super active, I mean like
Well, but would you say that although Gibran Raka Buming Raka has not been very super active, I mean like in advocatism,
education,
then
he's been trained by his fathers.
born into this world, he's been
I
under
think Gibran
Jokowi's
would
influence
like to follow
education,
his
he's been
father
trained
trait,
by his father.
to
What
be
do you think about
cautious, to be
I
calm,
think Gibran
and
would like
minded.
to follow his
So,
father trait, to be
Gibran
cautious,
follow
to
his
be
father
calm,
as the role model
and
when
minded.
it comes to the
So
political office.
Gibran follow
But
his father as
I
the
think
role
it's
model
also to be a burden
when it
for
comes
him
to the
because many people
political
would like
office.
to
But
comment that
I
Gibran
think this
is
also
a
to be a
shadow of
burden for
Jokowi.
him because many
He
people
cannot
would like
independently
to
act,
comment that Gibran
if the
is a
father
shadow of
can
Jokowi,
intervene
and he cannot
on
dependently act
his governing style
if
of
the
course.
father can
So this is
intervene
maybe to be
on
his burden
his
next if
governing style of
Gibran
course.
gets
So
elected
this is
in 2024.
maybe to be his burden next if Gibran
Expectations
get
as well
elected
now
in
that he's
2024.
the running vice presidential
to fill.
Correct.
Very high expectations as well now that he's the running vice presidential candidate.
Right, let's go back to the Indonesia Arena where the celebration is taking off.
All
with
attendees, you can see all the
Indonesian
political
national
parties
anthem,
have
Indonesia Raya,
consolidated
being sung together with
nominate
all attendees. You can see all the political parties who have consolidated to nominate Prabowo and Gibran.
Terima kasih hadirin, disilakan duduk kembali, kita berikan tepuk tangan untuk Bapak Prabowo dan Mas Gibran.
Ya, silakan untuk
The
duduk
energy
kembali.
seems to be electrifying right there
Baik,
in the
Bapak dan
arena.
Ibu yang kami hormati,
Right?
selanjutnya
The energy seems to be electrifying right there in the arena.
obviously showing
As
their support using their
all parties have now consolidated together and
coalition,
obviously showing their support using their party colors. As you said, Dr. Cecep, this is the biggest coalition between the two pairs,
that they chose
president and vice president nominees.
to do the declaration because it is seen as
And maybe it's also telling that they chose this specific venue to do the declaration because it is seen as, new Indonesia, new development. It's a sign of youth involvement as well.
podium for the third time.
Prabowo Subianto stepping up to the podium for the third time.
maju ke depan. Yang pertama juga kami mengundang seluruh partai koalisi Indonesia Maju untuk bisa maju ke depan. Yang pertama dari Partai Prima kami undang Bang Agus Jabo.
Berikutnya dari Partai Gelora, Pak Anies Mata.
Berikutnya dari Partai Garuda, Bang Ahmad
Calling all the leaders of
The chair of the parties to come up to the stage.
Actual basketball, the way the MC is calling out the chairman.
actual basketball match, the way the MC is calling out the chairman.
Big energy.
They're confident.
Obviously, the energy they want to give out is, it's big energy.
To win.
That they're confident.
Lead the race, although they've come to the race the latest.
Here to win. Here to lead the race, although they've come to the race the latest compared to the other pairs.
I think they want to show off to the public.
Show off.
Until last week, I think there are 18 to 30 undecided voters. Perhaps, more or less 20% undecided voters. And hopefully, they will look at these three pairs of the candidate. It's move to see
why
the
this
others.
player pick up blue clothes.
And I think it is interesting to see why this pair pick up blue clothes.
Yes, I was gonna say that.
Well, I think blue
Yeah,
color.
that's make me
What do
wondering.
you think?
Psychologically.
Well, I think blue color psychologically means
Optimism
New horizon.
new
and also courageous. So I think
New horizon.
optimism
these colors symbolically
and also courageous.
so public.
So I
This is
think
the new pair that
this clothes symbolically want to show public. This is the new pair that remain ready to fight. Something like that.
Stage now we have all the chairmen of all political parties. Everybody's lined up on stage now. We have all the chairmen of all political parties. From Golkar, Erlangga Hartarto, AHY, Demokrat, and all the parties that have announced.
You can imagine
Itu brother.
Yeah, you can imagine if they use the four pockets, like Prabowo, it is too exclusive, so they try the other color, the other model of the.
Because that is typical of what Prabowo have been wearing.
To be
Berikutnya
inclusive,
voters yang
others.
siap dari Partai Amanat Nasional, Bapak Zulkifli Hasan. Mana Partai Amanat Nasional?
Signing like a declaration of support, making it official.
Terima kasih. Berikutnya kami undang dari
They're signing like a declaration of support, making it official.
Terima kasih. Berikutnya kami
They're
undang
giving their
dari
blessings
Exactly.
for this couple to move on forward.
We have your backs, yes, for the upcoming campaigning.
Yeah.
Start on the end of November, and it's going to be full throttle on.
It's Agus, back and forth.
AHY signing. Also a bit of drama with Agus, back and forth for the moments, if you remember. Now he's signaling his full support for the candidacy of Prabowo and Gibran.
So much sound, like so much to show a lot of
I think
how they're trying to make so much sound, like so much to show a lot of support for these candidates. I mean, last night we had the same, a big gathering for this candidate, and today an even bigger event.
yeah. I think the massive supporter that gather around in this arena also show how they would to attract many segments from various parties, because I think most of parties also has different constituent voters, so I think they would like to catch all the voters.
From your opinion, Dr. Cecep, with this sort of entertainment value, visually, optically, this is very pleasing to the eye. But would this affect voters? Would this influence voters to shift their, voting preferences if they already have one? Would that deter their choice if they see something like this happening? What do you think?
If we based on the political communication perspective, actually what we see today in the English arena, actually there are communicators. All of these chairman of the political party, they try to be communicators, and then they show to us, they communicate with the symbols. How we are the pairs, Prabowo and Gibran, we got support not only from the biggest party, from the parliament and also the outside parliament, but also from Jokowi. Then after that, we want to show off to all of you, the public, to the receivers, to the audience, and then it is us, and then it is but the response from the audience, there are four response actually. The first one, I think, when they already become the profile of the supporter, of the cadre, of the voters from the political party who support Prabowo and Gibran, they will strengthen the voting voters. But for the other voters,
excuse me, Doc, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you might have to listen to what Bo Subianto is about to say now.
Bagi kita sekalian, Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Selamat pagi, saudara-saudara sekalian, bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu yang saya hormati dan yang saya banggakan. Saudara-saudara sekalian, Raka Buming Raka dan Raka Buming Raka dari Koalisi Indonesia Maju yang saya hormati, calon wakil presiden dari Koalisi Indonesia Maju yang saya hormati dan saya banggakan, Ketua Umum Partai Golongan Karya Saudara Airlangga Hartarto, yang saya hormati dan saya banggakan, Ketua Umum yang saya hormati dan saya banggakan, Ketua Umum Partai Amanat Nasional Bapak Zulkifli Hasan, Demokrat, Bapak Agus Harimurti Yudhoyono, Partai Demokrat, Bapak Agus Harimurti Yudhoyono, saya hormati Profesor Dr. Yusril Iza Mahendra, Ketua Umum Partai Bulan Bintang yang saya hormati, Profesor Dr. Yusril Iza Mahendra, Bapak Anies Mata, Partai Gelora, Ketua Umum Partai Bapak Anies Mata, Ketua Umum Partai Garuda yang terhormat Ahmad Ridho Sabana, Saudara Agus Jabu Priyono, Ketua Umum Partai Prima yang saya hormati, Saudara Agus Jabu Priyono, Ketua Umum Partai Solidaritas Indonesia, dan yang paling ganteng, Ketua Umum Partai Solidaritas Indonesia, saudara-saudara sekalian, yang saya hormati, Mas Kaisang Pangarep, Rosan Roslani, saudara-saudara sekalian, tim kampanye nasional yang saya hormati, Bapak Rosan Roslani, Ketua Tim Kampanye Nasional yang saya hormati, Koalisi Indonesia Maju, Saudara Bahlil Lahadalia, yang saya hormati, Saudara Bahlil Lahadalia, yang saya hormati tokoh-tokoh nasional yang hadir, terutama yang saya hormati tokoh-tokoh nasional yang hadir, terutama Panglima saya Jenderal TNI Wiranto, juga Jenderal Polisi Sutarman, juga Jenderal Polisi Sutarman, Letnan Jenderal TNI Safri Samsudin, ibu-ibu kita, Letnan Jenderal TNI M. Taruk Aris Munandar, ibu-ibu kita yang hadir, Ibu Wismoyo Aris Munandar, di sini Marsikal Udara Imam, dan semua tokoh-tokoh yang hadir, TNI Bibit Waluyo, di sini Marsikal Udara Imam Sufaat, Letnan Jenderal TNI Bibit Waluyo, Laksamana Madya Didit Ashraf, Bapak Fuad Bawazir, Menteri Keuangan yang nasionalis, Saudara Mahir Al-Gadri, Mayor Jenderal TNI Glenny Karupan, Saudara Letnan Jenderal TNI Jamali Caniago, dan terutama Ustadz kita, panutan kita, Habib Lutfi bin Yahya dari Banyuwangi, dan begitu banyak tokoh-tokoh, Kiai Haji Suyuti dari Banyuwangi, dan begitu banyak tokoh-tokoh lainnya yang tidak saya sebut tanpa mengurangi rasa hormat. Tapi saya lihat di sini juga ada Datuk Wakil Menteri Besar, Saudara Wakil Menteri saudara-saudara sekalian, saya tidak akan saudara-saudara sekalian yang pidato karena kita harus ke KPU. Saya tidak akan panjang pidato karena kita harus ke KPU, karena ini adalah hari, tanggal, dan waktu yang sudah dihitung. Saudara-saudara sekalian, jadi sesuai adat kita akan penuhi. Saudara-saudara sekalian, ada di sini kawan-kawan saya Nusron Wahid, Saudara Ibas, ya, semuanya, Pak Ludwig Paulus, Pak Muzani. Saya minta maaf kalau saya tidak sebut satu-satu untuk mengurangi waktu. Saya ingin menyampaikan di sini bahwa kami, Prabowo Subianto dan Gibran Rakabuming Raka, mohon doa restu dari seluruh Indonesia. Mohon doa restu dari seluruh rakyat Indonesia. Mengucapkan terima kasih kepada pendukung-pendukung dan pengusung-pengusung kami semuanya. Dan saya ingin di sini menyampaikan tekad kami bersama dengan saudara-saudara untuk minta mandat dari rakyat Indonesia. Kita menghadapi titik yang sangat penting. Karena kita menghadapi titik yang sangat penting dalam sejarah kita bisa menghadapi bangkit titik menuju di mana kita bisa bangkit menuju Indonesia yang hebat, Indonesia yang bebas dari kemiskinan, Indonesia yang bebas dari kelaparan, Indonesia yang bebas dari kurang gizi, Indonesia yang anak-anaknya akan tumbuh gembira, kuat, dan cerdas. Di mana kekayaan Indonesia akan dipergunakan. Indonesia di mana kekayaan Indonesia akan dipergunakan sebesar-besarnya untuk seluruh rakyat Indonesia. Itu tekad kami, itu perjuangan kami, itu sumpah tekad kami, itu perjuangan kami, itu sumpah kami kepada rakyat Indonesia. Akan panjang berpidato. Saya hanya menyampaikan. Saya tidak lagi akan panjang berpidato. Saya hanya menyampaikan seluruh jiwa raga kami untuk rakyat Indonesia.
Luar biasa. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam sejahtera bagi kita sekalian. Shalom. Om Santi Santi Om. Merdeka. Merdeka. Indonesia maju. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih kepada Bapak Prabowo Subianto. Selanjutnya kami persilakan kepada Mas Gibran untuk bisa memberikan speech-nya. Mas Gibran.
Silakan Mas Gibran untuk menyampaikan speech-nya kepada kita semua.
Cawapres untuk duduk. Capres diperintah oleh Cawapres untuk duduk.
Luar biasa.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya. Salam sejahtera, Shalom. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya. Salam kebajikan, Rahayu. Ketua Umum Gerindra yang saya hormati, calon Presiden Pak Prabowo, Ketua Umum Gerindra, calon Presiden Pak Prabowo, Tenang saja Pak Prabowo. Tenang saja Pak Prabowo. Saya sudah ada di sini. Tenang saja Pak. Saya sudah ada di sini. Yang saya hormati para ketua umum partai. Yang saya hormati Ketua Umum Partai Golkar, para Ketua Umum Partai, Ketua Umum Partai Golkar, Partai PAN, Ketua Umum Partai Demokrat, Ketua Umum Partai PAN, Ketua Umum Partai Gelora, Ketua Umum Partai Demokrat, Partai PBB, Ketua Umum Partai Gelora, Ketua Umum Partai Garuda, Ketua Umum Partai PBB, Ketua Umum Partai Prima, Ketua Umum Partai Garuda, yang paling saya sayangi, Ketua Umum Partai PSI, yang paling saya sayangi, Ketua Umum Partai PSI, yang saya hormati, Abah Habib Lutfi, matur nuwun teman relawan, para senior, tokoh-tokoh agama yang saya hormati, para senior, tokoh-tokoh agama yang saya hormati, luar biasa sekali. Kita semua meyakini program-program yang kita semua meyakini program-program yang sudah berjalan ke pintu gerbang kemajuan. Tugas kita sekarang melanjutkan dan tugas kita sekarang melanjutkan dan menyempurnakan hal-hal yang terkait anak-anak muda, hal-hal yang terkait generasi milenial, anak-anak muda, generasi Z, generasi milenial, dan jangan lupa para santri, generasi Z, dan jangan lupa para santri, kita butuh generasi muda yang handal. Pasti kita dukung penuh. Tangguh. Kita butuh generasi muda yang handal. Memiliki komitmen. Generasi muda yang tangguh. Generasi muda yang memiliki komitmen kebangsaan. Sekali lagi, generasi milenial, generasi Z, dan jangan lupa santri. Pak Prabowo, saya ingin membocorkan beberapa program unggulan. Untuk itu, mohon izin Pak Prabowo, saya ingin membocorkan beberapa program unggulan. Dana abadi pesantren. Dana abadi pesantren. Dana abadi pesantren ini adalah mandat dari Undang-Undang Nomor 18 Tahun 2019. Dana abadi pesantren ini adalah mandat dari Undang-Undang Nomor 18 Tahun 2019. Sudah ada yang namanya PUR. Sudah ada yang sekarang sudah ada yang namanya PUR. Wakaf mikro. Sudah ada yang namanya kredit mekar. Ultra mikro. Sudah ada wakaf mikro. Ada kredit ultra mikro, nanti akan kami tambahkan lagi. Kredit startup milenial. Ini untuk bisnis para milenial yang berbasis ini untuk inovasi bisnis para milenial yang berbasis inovasi dan teknologi. Ada KIS, ada Kartu Indonesia Pintar. Sekarang sudah ada KIS, nanti saya tambahkan lagi. Ada Kartu Indonesia Pintar, ada PKH, nanti saya tambahkan lagi. KIS lansia. Ada satu lagi. Ada satu lagi. Biar istri saya saja. Soalnya ini berhubungan. Ada satu lagi, tapi ini yang bawa biar istri saya saja. Soalnya ini berhubungan dengan ibu dan anak. Kartu anak sehat untuk pencegahan stunting. Kartu anak sehat untuk pencegahan stunting. Lalu tak lupa hilirisasi untuk komoditas. Lalu tak lupa pertanian dan perikanan. Hilirisasi. Ini wajib untuk komoditas pertambangan, pertanian dan perikanan. Ini wajib. Ekonomi hijau dan juga energi hijau untuk keberlanjutan. Ekonomi hijau dan energi hijau untuk keberlanjutan. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, berlanjutan Bapak dan Ibu sekalian adalah modal kita. Berlanjutan dan konsistensi menuju adalah modal kita untuk melompat lebih jauh menuju Indonesia emas. Sekali lagi, terima kasih Bapak Ibu semua. Mohon doanya. Sekali lagi, agar semuanya terima kasih Bapak Ibu semua. Mohon doanya agar semuanya lancar dan semoga kita ke depan dapat dimudahkan. Terima kasih. Perjalanan kita ke depan dapat dimudahkan. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih sekali lagi buat Bapak Prabowo Subianto dan juga Mas Gibran Raka Buming Raka atas pidatonya untuk kita semuanya. Sekali lagi boleh berikan tepuk tangannya Bapak Ibu.
Tepuk tangan untuk Bapak Prabowo dan juga Mas Gibran. Kita semuanya siap untuk menjemput kemenangan. Dan tentu saja dengan tadi sudah disampaikan ya, kita semuanya siap untuk menjemput kemenangan Indonesia Maju. Capres dan juga Capres 2024 Prabowo Gibran.
Pada pemilu 2024 nanti.
Bagaimana? Enggak salah pilihan aku. Paten enggak? Terlalu muda enggak wakil presiden kita? Gue terlalu tua enggak? Terlalu muda enggak? Baik. Terima kasih. Gue terlalu tua enggak? Saya tadi minta maaf. Salah satu pendukung kita. Terima kasih saudara-saudara sekalian. Saya tadi minta maaf. Salah satu pendukung kita yang paling kuat adalah Mualim Partai Aceh dari Aceh. Salah satu penutup karena kita terima kasih Mualim. Dan mungkin sebagai salah satu penutup karena kita saya mengajak kita semua untuk kita berdoa karena sejenak menundukkan kepala. Kita berdoa karena banyak saudara-saudara kita, rakyat Palestina di Gaza sedang menghadapi cobaan, penderitaan luar biasa, menghadapi penindasan. Marilah kita berdoa agar mereka diberi keringanan, kebaikan, dan keselamatan oleh Yang Maha Kuasa. Berdoa mulai. Hati kita, jiwa kita, perjuangan kita. Berdoa selesai. Hati kita, jiwa kita, perjuangan kita bersama rakyat Palestina. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih sekali lagi Pak Prabowo dan juga Mas.
Wow. Okay, you can say whatever you want about Prabowo
Ya,
and Gibran.
baik, terima kasih sekali lagi Pak Prabowo dan juga Mas.
Wow. Okay, you can say whatever you want about Prabowo and Gibran, but they can put on a show.
Exactly. I mean, like that is such a good speech. I mean, both like Prabowo was like expected, but something from Gibran, it was like a very nice, thorough speech. And especially with that closing right there from Prabowo saying, you know, like emphasizing to the audience, what do you think about us? Am I too old? Is he too young? So for them, it's like a show of approval, saying that, oh, actually we can do this, and we are a good match. What do you think?
And they're saying we understand what are the objections,
the concerns,
yes, concerns. We are aware of that, but we are here to prove you wrong, something like that. Maybe we can start with Aziz. What do you think first about Prabowo's speech in the beginning?
Well, I think the way Prabowo delivered his speech seems that he want to capture all the things from the Jokowi's legacy and representing the current voter demographic, and also the other rival program. For example, stunting and then santri. Is it similar with rival's program? And in the end, he want to ensure that all this thing can make him proof, because capturing all the keywords, capturing all the key figures as we see, and so Secretary
General Wiranto,
correct, and so in conclusion, he want to say that this is my final stage. This is my final show, and he want to ensure that this could be a winning coalition.
And let's just talk a bit about the introduction that Gibran did. I mean, like, that was so catchy. He just started the speech with "Tenang saja, saya sudah ada di sini."
Well, I was surprised, of course, because when statement in solo, he always the way Gibran make words or make statement in solo, he always keep in short and to the point, of course. But now we can see that Gibran has a good communication skill that emphasize some words that might be catchy, could be reminded by all the people. So I was wondering when Gibran get trained in communication skill.
He's up his level now.
Of course, yes.
He's got good training, I think.
Yeah, lifting the communication skill in short term is really matters.
You can tell, you can see the difference and the show of confidence from the way he talks in his speech today. Yeah.
Yes, we can see, because previously Gibran is shown as the non-ambitious person, calm, and now he is now confident and also want to embrace more. So I think this is opposite from his image in solo.
Okay. Now, before we get your opinion, Dr. Cecep, we're just going to quickly go now to Shafira Junior, our reporter who's at the KPU, to tell us a little bit more about the situation now that we're waiting for the candidates to arrive there to do the formal registration. Hello, Shafira.
Hello there, Siska and Luisa, reporting live from the General Elections Commission, or KPU. Hello there, Siska and Luisa, reporting live from the General Elections Commission, or KPU. Ahead of the 2024 elections, 2 presidential and vice presidential candidates have registered. And today, presidential candidate, Minister of Defense Prabowo, and vice presidential candidate, Mayor of Surakarta, Gibran Rakabuming Raka, are about to register here at the General Elections Commission. Presidential and vice presidential candidates Prabowo Subianto and Gibran Rakabuming are paraded by all political parties leaders from Indonesia Maju Coalition. coalition that nominated Prabowo and Gibran as the presidential and vice presidential candidates for the 2024 general elections. Previously, there are two presidential and vice presidential candidates who have registered at the General Elections Commission, namely Anies with Muhaimin and Ganjar with Mahfud MD. Security forces around the General Elections Commissions are tied to make sure the security here, as the General Elections Commission area is pretty crowded with the people here, with the supporters of Prabowo and Gibran for the 2024 elections. Now we are here still waiting for the arrival of Prabowo and Gibran. That's what we have for now. Reporting from the General Elections Commission, Safira Junior and camera person Arya reporting for TVRI World. Back to you there at the studio.
All right, thank you, Shafira, for your reporting. We'll surely get back to you later on after the candidates have formally registered their candidacy at the General Election Commission. But now, back to Dr. Cecep. I'm sure we were all quite pleasantly surprised to see a whole new Gibran performing on stage. But I wanna go back to Prabowo's speech actually, because we've been talking about age of Gibran. Is he too young? But we haven't been talking about Prabowo's age. He's the oldest presidential candidate now in the candidacy in this election. What do you think of his performance just now, Dr. Cecep? Do you think he still got what it takes to be, serving 2 terms of governing as president?
Yeah. In a few weeks ago, I think, Prabowo said he's the fighters, He was a fighter, and then he will try to fight,
and then from this
celebration,
I think
public service to Indonesia, to serve Indonesia, and then from this celebration, I think Prabowo show to us, how he tried to continue from Jokowi presidential. So it is quite easy for all of the Indonesian society, to when they if they want to continue Jokowi, just
now of Prabowo and Gibran just now. Would you say, based on that performance just now of both Prabowo and Gibran just now, to convince you otherwise?
Yeah, I think
for Gibran is still somewhat a setback to democracy, or has this convinced you otherwise?
Yeah, I think for Gibran itself, I think, from this celebration, this celebration show to us how Gibran transformed just in a short time. From the very calm, not ambitious, become so confident, It's so to us. That's the point. And I think a few weeks ago, Gibran also told to us, he has several political consultants. I think they also already with Gibran. So it is the new Gibran, the new Gibran.
Explain today.
Gibran 2.0, right?
So that's how he changed very fast, He learned a lot, I think, in these few days. That's the second. The third one, I think, if we talk about, I think age is not matter. If you have the same,
just 2 years as the mayor of Surakarta.
So we just know, given just 2 years as the mayor of Surakarta. Less experience, in the public service area. It's quite difficult for Gibran to manage the whole country. Even you have a lot of special staff, and then also technical assistant, etc. But I want to tell you, that Gibran actually, like the Pak Wasis taught to us, in previous time,
in the other countries.
When we talk about age, of course we have young leaders, in the other countries. But for Gibran itself, he has
Actually, when we talk about
a little bit experience in the public
state,
official. Actually, when we talk about how to be leaders of a state, of the country, we need 3 aspects. What are the experience? What is the experience of him or her? What's the the bright ya, the prestasi ya,
achievements.
Previous
for the future.
Track record.
The vision.
And then what will he do ya for the future?
Today.
The vision. And what he did today.
Seeing them both on stage,
Plus
holding hands,
today and the next, the future.
Now, seeing them both on stage, holding hands, smiling brightly, I cannot help but think back of the election in 2019. If you remember how heated it was between Prabowo and Jokowi. And now we see Prabowo standing there side by side with Jokowi standing, and saying he's going to continue everything that Jokowi's been doing, essentially, implicitly using so.
He said he will continue and perfect.
What are your thoughts on this?
I think Prabowo are shifting his strategy from the 2-3 previous election, with next year election, and because actually if he doesn't change his strategy, it is quite difficult for Prabowo to win the election. So he need to make a good communication with the others. Okay, in politics we have catch-all party. In this next election, with Indonesia Koalisi Indonesia Maju, on what Indonesia coalition, we can say this coalition try to have the catch-all voters. Like Gibran said, he tried to target most of several segmented they have country, and then the millennial and Gen Z, the lansia, anak, the others.
And also he touched upon a little bit about green economy and sustainability. The way he delivered those messages about issues for younger people, right? What do you think? The way he delivered those messages about the programs, was that too gimmicky for you? Was it good political communication? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think the way he mentioned several programs in short term means that he want to wrap up all the existing program that already run, and also he tried to attract economics swing voters that concerned with economics, Palestine issue, and also a sensitive issue that might be to be a driving force for Prabowo. So I think Prabowo want to be pragmatically to attract voters, regardless of he has a limitation to reach out issue on voter, but from the way he mentioned several keywords, he want to show that I'm concerned with issue and I have the solution for this issue.
I also find it interesting that the one that is announcing some of the programs is actually Gibran instead of Prabowo. Why do you think they decide to do it this way?
I think Prabowo want to ensure that the can be passed on to Gibran. That also to be his coalition name can be passed on to Gibran. So that's why Gibran was given much more chance to speak about the potential program they want to run if he get elected. So that's why Prabowo want to ensure that the name of Advanced Indonesia narration can still ongoing by passing down to Gibran. So that's why Prabowo give much times to Gibran to speak.
More stage time.
Wants him to flex.
Basically,
because there is a huge concern about Prabowo's age, and then Gibran's lack of experience. If something, God forbid, ever to happen to Prabowo, then we'll have Gibran as president, and that's been a huge concern with voters. And I think today was the perfect opportunity for them to try address that concern and issue. Do you think they've successfully addressed it, Dr. Cecep?
I think because I think the chief of the success team, Rosan, already works for them. And he already divided, they make the division of labor between Prabowo and Gibran's speech. Prabowo in the previous one, and then after that Gibran, and then Gibran also spill some potential agenda, some potential program if they won the election next year.
Another story right here. Okay, so thank you for that opinion right there, Dr. Cecep. We will move on now to another story right here. Onward Indonesia Coalition will register Prabowo Subianto and Gibran Rakabuming Raka as pair of presidential and vice presidential candidates with the General Election Commission right now.
Said when he announced Gibran as his running mate for the 2024 election at his residence. Prabowo Subianto said when he announced Gibran as his running mate for the 2024 election at his residence on Jalan Kertanegara number 4 in Jakarta that he and Gibran will register with the KPU on Wednesday. The announcement on Gibran's name and his running mate was made by Prabowo after he attended the National Santri Day in Surabaya, East Java earlier on Sunday morning. Prabowo said all political party members of the Onward Indonesia Coalition had agreed on Gibran as Prabowo's vice presidential candidate. The coalition members are the Gerindra Party, the Golkar Party, the National Mandate Party or PAN, the Crescent Star Party or PBB, the Gelora Indonesia Party, the Garuda Party, and the Prima Party. The deal was made when chairmen and general secretaries of each party met at Prabowo's residence on Sunday evening. However, Gibran was not present when his name was announced as Prabowo's running mate.
Their support for the candidacy of Prabowo and Gibran. Now moving on to the political parties who have shown their support for the candidacy of Prabowo and Gibran, the Indonesia Solidarity Party, or PSI, officially declared its support for Prabowo-Gibran pair as presidential and vice presidential candidates for the upcoming 2024 election.
Presidential and vice presidential candidates from the Advanced Indonesia Party, or PSI, declared its support for presidential and vice presidential candidates from the Advanced Indonesia Coalition, or KIM, Prabowo Subianto and Gibran Rakabuming. Kaisang Pangarap, chair of PSI, conveyed the statement in a declaration event held last night titled Konser Pilpres Santuy, Ojo Rungkat.
Kami, Partai Solidaritas Indonesia, siap mendukung Bapak Prabowo Subianto dan Mas Gibran Rakabuming Raka sebagai calon presiden dan calon wakil presiden 2024.
PSI called for the pair to promise a respectful and easygoing foreign youth slang Santuy 2024 general election and prevent from committing any kind of negative actions. In the same occasion, Prabowo Subianto stated that along with his running mate Gibran, they will focus on the welfare of the Indonesia.
Fokus pilihan kepada rakyat, kehidupan yang baik untuk seluruh rakyat Indonesia. Kita hilangkan kemiskinan, kita jamin kehidupan yang baik untuk seluruh rakyat Indonesia. Itu adalah bersama Prabowo. Bukan Prabowo sebagai individu. Bukan Gibran sebagai individu. Prabowo sebagai simbol, Gibran sebagai simbol. Merah tuh.
Prabowo individual and a Gibran individual, but now they're connected, they have bond. Do you think it's not just a Prabowo individual and a Gibran individual, but now they're connected, they have bond. Do you think that they have actually bond after that speech right there we saw today?
Their chemistry,
Do you think they have bonded? Would you say they're still like separate individual, or do you think they have actually
their chemistry between them?
Actually, what we see today, it is not only the result from few days ago, Actually, Prabowo already proposed Gibran few months ago, 5 to 7 times.
I think so one of those lunches he had with President Joko Widodo.
After that, he tried to make the chemistry for Gibran, between himself and Gibran. And today, he tried to show to us, how he connect with Gibran, how he connect with the Jokowi legacy, how we connect with the Jokowi heredity.
Well, of course, making social bonding is...
Awasi seems like smiling right there. What do you have to say?
Well, of course, making social bonding is need time.
Time, okay.
As Pak Cecep said that Prabowo already proposed Gibran several times, but I'm sure that this bonding also facilitated by his generation, because the gap generation, the age matters here. So if the president cannot facilitate these two actors, I think there is no social bonding.
Right now, moving on, Luisa, as you said, it is not just Prabowo Subianto and Gibran Rakabuming Raka, but there are also the supporting political parties. As you said, Dr. Cecep, this is the biggest coalition in the upcoming general election for presidential and vice presidential. So what sort of challenges would they be facing with so many different needs and opinions and views to consolidate and to make sure that everyone's needs are met? That should be quite a challenge to overcome by the candidates, right?
Yeah, like when Prabowo choose Gibran, actually, he needs time, more time to choose Gibran finally, because before Gibran, before October 16, the potential candidate for the running mate for Prabowo is Erick Thohir, right?
Yes.
Then after the Presidential Court decided last week, shifting to Gibran. And then after that, all the political party also support Gibran. PAN from Erick Thohir to Gibran, and then Democrat Party from Kofifa to Gibran, and then Golkar from Erlangga to Gibran, etc. But I think from this dynamic issue, this if we talk about the biggest coalition, the challenge is the how to make the point, the consensus. Today, this is what so yes, Prabowo needs time to communicate with the others, I think, and there is Jokowi's role also, communicate with all the political party in the coalition Indonesia Maju. And then for the next step, I think also Jokowi's role is still important in this coalition. At least Jokowi become the most powerful actor in this coalition. Beside Prabowo, like Mas Wasi said also, there is a connectors actor who connected Prabowo and Gibran, Jokowi itself. And then because Jokowi, the most important actors, and then because of he is the president, he has powers,
Easy at the same time, I
It
would say.
is quite difficult for Jokowi. It is quite easy for Jokowi to.
Easy at the same time, I would say. Yeah. It's a dilemma, I would say.
It's a big dilemma right there, but we see the results is unfolding, and let's just see what's going to happen later on in the general election. Now, speaking of the chairs of the political parties of the Advanced Indonesia Coalition, they are actually scheduled to accompany Prabowo Subianto as well as Gibran Rakabuming Raka to register as presidential and vice presidential candidates. Chair of the Golkar Party Erlangga Hartarto said on Tuesday, 8 political party chairs of the Advanced Indonesia Coalition. Chair of the Golkar Party Erlangga Hartarto said on Tuesday, 8 political party chairs of the Advanced Indonesia Coalition will accompany Prabowo and Gibran when registering at the General Election Commission or KPU office. Erlangga added the registration will begin on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Prabowo announced on Sunday Solo Mayor Gibran, who is the son of President Joko Widodo, as his running mate for the president election next year, 2024. The announcement came after the Constitutional Court ruled last week that candidates under the required age of 40 can seek the presidency or vice presidency if they have previously held elected regional office.
on the topic of political constellation for the upcoming general election, people will also be voting
on the
for
topic of
political constellation for the upcoming general election. People will also be voting for their representative in the legislative field. Do you think the political alliances that are happening now for the presidential and vice presidential candidacy will affect how people vote for the legislative?
Yeah, I think let's say for Golkar itself, why they shifting from Erlangga to Gibran, because they also want to succeed in the legislative election. They try to got the kotel effect.
Later, they will campaign.
Because when Prabowo and Gibran, later they will campaign. Golkar will back up the campaign, and then the voters will see Golkar is the body also from the Prabowo and Gibran. So Golkar and then Demokrat also they try to got the kotel effect. So if they have no
coalition,
actors, if they have no representative in this coalition, I mean for the president and vice president, but they try got kotel effect. They want to got voters in the legislative election.
Okay, I think in 2019 Golkar came third.
Third.
Right? First was TVRI and then Golkar. So they want to do better.
Up to the general election, are they going to be successful? Oasis, what do you have to say on this? How do you think they're going to gather the support up to the general election? Are they going to be successful with so many political parties supporting them?
For voters? Well, I think because we will have simultaneous election, technically it is difficult to voter to pick up the preferred candidate they want to choose because so many names, so many books that would see, and I think for the presidential and the vice presidential election, I think the role of patron is important to get voter to pick up someone to be get elected. But for the rest, for the house of representative and also local house, the role of kotel effect might be in effect. But I think also needs the local patron to get voters. That's why we would say that the role of middleman to get or to attract voters at the local level is important.
It would be interesting to talk with you about the mechanisms and technicalities of the upcoming general election. It's going to be simultaneous throughout Indonesia. It's complex, it's dynamic. Indonesia is the third biggest democracy in the world. We have a lot of questions for you on that. But maybe first we're going to show our viewers the profile for the last candidate for presidential election, Prabowo Subianto. Let's have a look.
Prabowo Subianto was born in Jakarta on October 17, 1951. Prabowo Subianto was born in Jakarta on October 17, 1951. Is a son of Professor Sumitro Joyohadi. His two older sisters, he is the third of 4 children. His two older sisters, Biantiningsih Midderawati and Mariani Ekowati, and one younger brother, Hashim Joyohadi Kusumo. Prabowo was married to Siti Hediati Haryadi, the 4th child of then President Suharto. From this marriage, he was blessed with one child, named Ragowo Didit Hedi Prasetyo. Since childhood, Prabowo has moved from one
to Malaysia
for duties. He attended elementary school in Hong Kong, moved to Malaysia and Switzerland, and he completed high school at the American School in England. At the age of 16, Prabowo returned to Indonesia. His father introduced him to Indonesian society. Young Prabowo did not just participate passively, but he was actively involved in meetings held by his parents. At that time, his parents were known as economic leaders and socialist activists. Prabowo helped establish the first non-governmental organization in Indonesia called the Development Institute. Prabowo began to get involved in building the social network that his parents had previously built. He had the idea of bringing together the children of former Indonesian Socialist Party or PSI officials. His passion for socio-political activities was interrupted in 1970. At the age of 19, Prabowo decided to enroll with the National Military Academy in Magelang, Central Java, although he had earlier been accepted to study at the University of Colorado and the George Washington University, United States. Prabowo graduated from the military academy in 1974. 2 years later, he joined the Army's Special Forces, or Kopassus. He began as platoon commander of Kopassus Group 1 Paracommando. He rapidly rose to prominence and was appointed Kopassus chief in 1996 to 1998. His military career continued when he was appointed commander of the Army Strategic Reserves Command, or Kostrat, in 1998. However, he did not serve as Kostrat chief for long due to critical political situation amidst the rise of student and mass demonstrations and the resignation of Suharto from presidency. In the same year, he was transferred to command the Indonesian Military Staff and Command School, which he only served for a brief period. After leaving office and retiring from the military, Prabowo left Indonesia and lived in Jordan and Germany. There he pursued business with his younger brother Hashim, who had previously become an entrepreneur. After around 7 years in business and disappearing from the hustle and bustle of Indonesia, he returned to his homeland. In 2004, he sought ticket for presidency by joining Golkar Party convention. Unsuccessful in the convention, he built a farmers' network and was elected as chairman of the Indonesian Farmers Association, or HKTI, in 2004. Still in 2004, he ran as vice presidential candidate, running alongside presidential candidate Megawati Soekarno-Putri, but did not succeed. In 2008, he established the Gerindra Party while also serving as chairman of its advisory board. In the 2014 presidential election, he ran as a presidential candidate partnering with Hatta Rajasa. Unfortunately, this pair did not manage to win the contest. But Prabowo's party achieved a significant increase in votes in the 2014 elections by securing third position after PDIP and Golkar. In 2019, he ran for presidency in his second attempt along with Sandiaga Uno. Yet, he lost again.
Menteri Pertahanan Bapak Prabowo Subianto.
But he was later appointed by President-elect Joko Widodo to become Minister of Defense. In the 2024 elections, Prabowo is nominated by the largest coalition of political parties, which controls 261 seats in the parliament.
From the presidential candidate Prabowo Subianto, next we will check out Gibran Raka Buming Raka. Let's take a look.
Born in Solo, Central Java on October 1st, 1987, Gibran Raka Buming Raka is the eldest son of President Joko Widodo and First Lady Iriana. His younger siblings are Kahiyang Ayu and Kaisang Pangarep. Gibran spent his childhood in Solo but continued his study at Orchard Park Secondary School in 2020. He then pursued his undergraduate degree at the Management Development Institute of Singapore MDIS and graduated degree at the University of Technology Sweden, Australia, graduating in 2010. Upon returning to Indonesia, he established the Chili Pari catering business in December 2010. In between, he was elected chairman of Surakarta chapter of Indonesian Catering Companies Association. In addition to that, he was also appointed as commissioner of PT Prakabu Sejahtera, the company established by his father. Together with his brother Kaisang, Gibran ran Markobar Cafe, which was initially only located in Solo. The cafe, which sells a variety of martabak or pancake, has developed significantly, and currently it has 33 outlets throughout Indonesia. He also jumped into electronic gadgets repair business with the name of iColor in 2016. In the same year, he set up a raincoat production business with the brand Tugas Negara Bos or State Juris Boss. Gibran established a Buntel pasta restaurant which focuses on Italian food in 2017, and he also opened a coffee shop and food stall selling grilled chicken feet. In 2018, he and his friend Kevin Susanto established a culinary-focused startup company named Gula. The company secured funding from Alpha JWC Ventures worth $5 million or equivalent of 70 billion Indonesia rupiah. A year later, Gibran collaborated with Kaisang and Chef Arnold Purnomo, establishing a restaurant named Mangkokku. Also with Kaisang, he set up food and beverage products with the name of Kemripik and Ngedrink, a Semarang culinary startup named Madang, as well as job search application Kerjaholic. In June 2015, Gibran was married to Selvi Ananda, Miss Solo of 2009. They have been blessed with a son named Jan Etes Rinarendra, who was born in 2016, and a daughter named Lala Bahmana, who was born in 2019. In 2020, Gibran started his political career as he registered as a member of the Indonesian Democratic Party of Struggle or PDIP and ran for the Solo mayorship along with Teguh Prakasa as his candidate deputy mayor. The pair was supported by PDIP as well as the Golkar Party, the Gerindra Party, the National Mandate Party or PAN, the Nasdem Party, the Perindo Party, and Indonesian Solidarity Party or PSI. Gibran and Teguh won the mayorship race with 225,451 votes or 86.53%, defeating the pair of Bagio Wahyono and FX Suparjo. They were inaugurated on February 26, 2021. After more than 2 years in office, Gibran was named by presidential candidate Prabowo Subianto on Sunday as his running mate for the 2024 presidential election. His popularity among the Indonesian youths and status as son of Jokowi are expected to boost Prabowo's achievement in next year's political event.
There you have it, the profiles of the third and final candidates for presidential and vice presidential election, Prabowo Subianto and Gibran Rakabuming Raka. We're now going to take a little break, but when we return, we have further discussions, further analysis, and maybe also a live update from the General Election Commission of the arrival of the candidates. Stay tuned to TVRI World. Welcome back to our special report right here on TVRI. Luisa Kusnandar and our two experts still joining us in the studio to talk about the latest update from the general election for presidential and vice presidential elections.
We still have Dr. Cecep as well as Pawasis. Thank you so much for being here. Now that back to the general election, we have Prabowo and Gibran Rakabuming Raka. Do you think they have successfully gained the voters from Jawa? Like West, Central, and East Jawa, now that he has partnered up with Gibran?
Well, I think if we learn from the previous election, Prabowo won in West Java. But for Gibran, I think still in local Solo area. So if we take it in the large context, I think Gibran has chance to disrupt voter in Central Java, as he also has a strong Japanese background, and this is can be appeal for the voters voting for Gibran. But for the East Java, I'm not sure yet, because the East Java is the home of the Santri voters, and that's why this pair needs middleman, or maybe could be ulamas, or maybe kiais that can bridge in the voters and this pair.
That would explain the repeated reference to ulamas and Muslim clerics during that declaration together at Indonesia Arena. Now, Dr. Cecep, we saw how Gibran has transformed himself into a proficient public speaker, and we would say, as public speakers ourselves, we were pretty impressed by his skill, because it's not easy talking on such a big stage, being watched by so many people in that arena. And mind you, it's not just those people in the arena watching him, it's the whole Indonesia. But surprisingly, he kept collected, he kept calm, he delivered the main messages. Now, seeing all that, how do you think Pak Prabowo will utilize Gibran in the upcoming campaigning that will start the end of next month?
Okay. For the campaign, actually, they will start on the beginning of November, for the 75 years, 75 days, until 3 days before the election, the H day, the D-Day.
February.
I think there are two keys for the next election. The first one is Java itself, and the second is the young generation, millennials and Gen Z. Okay, for the we try to analyze these two keys. For the Java itself, refer to some pollster. We have several pollster. They show to us for the West Java will won by Prabowo, Jakarta by for Anies, and then the Central Java, previous pollster, I think they show to us Ganjar will win in Central Java. Then for the East Java will be battlefield for these three pairs.
Those are the swing voters.
Why? Because in Central Java, in East Java, they have the Islam, the biggest Islam organization. So these three pairs of candidate, they ask for the represent of East Java, either NU, Nahdlatul Ulama. Say Anies with Caimin, as the representative of NU, and then Ganjar with Prof Mahfud as representative of NU, and also East Java itself. Then for Prabowo itself, finally Jokowi, he didn't choose representative from East Java, but he took Gibran, the mayor of Surakarta from Central Java. Of course, this coalition tried to hope Gibran can took several voters in Central Java itself. And then for the East Java, they will use the issue, the issue like the Gibran said in the celebration a few minutes ago. Also, they try Mas Wasis language to say the middleman, middle person, brokers. And then this coalition, they need the informal leaders, Muslim informal leaders.
Yes.
NU itself. Then that's the first one. The second, yeah, when we talk about millennial and Gen Z, actually Gibran take voters from this generation, given as a representative from millennial and Gen Z. Then, as we know, Gibran also active in social media. We don't know who reply the X or the other platform, but he active in social media. And then, since the Gen Z and millennial, they have more than 55%, voters,
huge number.
Huge number. And then from these three pairs, from this 6%, Gibran is a representative from the millennial and Gen Z.
Yes.
So the positive effect, the positive tone from these pairs, they want to get voters from this generation, from these voters, these specific voters. Even they have the negative tone, which is the previous last week constitutional court decision.
The ruling,
right?
The age limit.
Pawasis, would you say, how would you say Prabowo and Gibran is going to win the East Java votes? How are they going to gain the East Java votes comparing to like Ganjar as well as Anies, because their vice presidential candidates have a strong votes in East Java?
Well, East Java historically has a fluctuated trend in terms of the political map. It was a basis for Democrats, it was basis for Golkar, and currently it was basis for PKB. And when we see this fact, I think the voter also dynamic and also follow the ruling party that governed at that time. So when we translate it to the current context, it depends on the role of the, like I said before, the brokers and the middlemen. Because speaking on the NU voters, they all decentralized. So they have own preference. They following the ulamas or following the maybe the informal leader, for example, ustad or something else. So it depends how they get approached by someone that connect with the success team.
Seems like East Java will be the battlefield for the upcoming election. Now we understand why Java is so crucial for all the candidates. It has the biggest population, of course, in Indonesia. But what about outside Java? But before we delve into that, I think we have some updates from the General Election Commission from Shafira. Shafira, please give us some updates, or just visuals from the General Election Commission.
Let's take a look at the situation right now at the General Elections Commission. They're preparing the room at the moment. We can still see empty seats right now. So apparently, the presidential and vice presidential candidates Prabowo and Gibran have not arrived yet.
But on their way.
Yes, they're scheduled to arrive at 10 a.m. this morning, but since it's not starting yet, so we assume it's going to be a delay.
Once they arrive, we'll surely notify you and give you the latest updates. I'm sure there must be some traffic issue along the way. I hear that it's quite congested.
Actually, with all the supporters
coming
with them, yes.
To Kuningan to the General Election Commission. So now back to Dr. Cecep. Let's talk about outside Java. How would that play out in the general election for presidential and vice presidential?
Okay, when we look at the voters, the number of the voters from Java and outside Java, first one, the biggest voters come from West Java. After that, East Java, and then Central Java. And after that, the outside Java. And refer to previous election, actually, Prabowo won the election from the outside Java, mostly from Java.
In 2019.
So refer to that result, and also Prabowo also introduced the head of the Partai Aceh, Demo Alim ya tadi ya.
At the very end, when he returned to the stage.
He want to show to us actually. Prabowo show to us, then he got support ya from the outside Java, mostly from Sumatra, from Aceh, West Sumatra, ya, etc. The other province. Ya. Prabowo won the election in the refer to the previous election, actually, for next year election, he will win also.
Based on his latest results. Yeah, because they were implying that they will continue all the developments that has been made by this current government. That would include the development of the new capital in Kalimantan. Would that means they will get the votes from people in Kalimantan? What do you think, Pak Wasis?
Well, I think the percentage of voters in Kalimantan is not densely other than in Sumatra or Sulawesi. If we look at the previous demographic graphs, it seems that northern Sumatra and also southern Sulawesi are the basis of the dense voters in outside Java. So when we back to the Kalimantan voters, I think it is sufficient to say that okay, this voter might be concentrate in East Kalimantan because there are many migrants, many also local natives that still resting here. There, I'm sorry. So probably East Kalimantan would be hold the key for the voters in East Kalimantan in Kalimantan as the whole.
To win the general election, what would be the best strategy, the best bet for Prabowo and Gibran?
Attracting voters in Java or
Indonesia, to win the general elections.
Pretend you're advising them on the moves they should take. I mean, based on just what we saw today. Utilize Gibran more. Maybe should grab people from East Java more, as you said. That's where they lack voter base, right?
It depends on the issue they're working on because many voters also has different concern. For example,